see. Live yet? Yep, I should be. Alright. Hello. I'm not sure if anyone's in chat yet. Let me just get this refreshed. We should be. Oh, whatever. Get out of here, you two. Ooh, rough. Like a dog. Very good. Let's see. I'm just making sure I've got everything set up. Close this. If there's anyone in chat, make sure to say hi. Make sure my chat's working. Oh, we gotta cancel that. Shit, I hope they didn't charge me. I'll do it after the stream. Yep, that seems to be working. The reason I have to set this up on OBS proper, I don't have Streamlabs. I don't know, I'd go with the Nurgling from the Plague Marine Champion, actually. Starting soon. If there's anybody in chat, make sure if you want it, you can say hi. I've got, it might not show up on the screen because I'm using the regular OBS, but I have my chat here in front of me, so.
Hello everybody and welcome to this very exciting preview. This is the big summer Warhammer preview. I am Adam Troke, this is Eddie Eccles, and we're delighted to have your company.
Yeah, this is going to be a really cool preview. We've got stuff from loads of different game systems to show you, loads of Warhammer to talk about. We think about 90 minutes of stuff. Is that
Yeah,
right?
it should run to about that long depending on how fast we talk and how sidetracked we get by all the details.
90 minutes.
But yeah, for the next hour and a half or so, we're going to fill the air with loads of cool Warhammer things. We've got things to cover from Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Old World, Warhammer Necromunda, Warhammer Blood Bowl, Warhammer Horus Heresy, and Legions Imperialis. Have I forgotten anything?
Kill Team.
Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. So loads to go
Loads of
through.
different systems. It's not every single system that we make. There are a few systems we couldn't quite squeeze in. So we haven't got any Warcry for you. We haven't got any Underworld.
Or Middle Earth.
We haven't got any Middle Earth. But we'll have stuff on all of those game systems in the not too distant future.
Absolutely. So keep your eyes on warhammercommunity.com if you want to hear about the news on those as it happens. Meanwhile, while the chat fills up and we get ready to kick off, there's a few things we normally do. The first thing is that we ask people in the chat where you're from. I was looking at the chat as people answered the...
I enjoyed the quiz.
The quiz was fun, right?
Good fun.
Did you get any right?
I got all of them right, obviously, Adam.
Very good.
I did also help write the questions, so I did have cheated a bit.
Perfect. I was doing all right myself. And I saw where some people are from. We've got people from Texas. There's people from all around the UK. A lot from Europe as well. I saw some France and some Germany. So wherever you are in this global Warhammer community, welcome to this preview. We're delighted that you would choose to spend some time with us.
Yep, absolutely. Are you doing any hobby recently, Adam?
I have. I've found doing hobby a bit hard, been very busy, and also the weather is
been a bit warm.
anathema to painting right now here in the UK. We are getting burninated. But I have put together everything that was on the Space Marine side of my Armageddon box,
nice.
including Dark Angeling.
You know, I'm going to build up
the models
Orks,
with
start painting them, you know, and have a blast with that.
What about you?
bit of Eldari, playing some of them. Doing a little bit of Caradrons on my
Can't
picnic
wait to
table at
build
the moment.
that big mech deck. I rigged
Did
the new
you
war
finish your
boss,
book?
I
and
did
then-
finish
I mean,
my
I
book.
love all the Orks.
Yes,
Like,
a long time ago.
Space
I
Marines.
did
It
loads
was,
of
it was on
hobby.
Warcom, wasn't it?
It was.
I can't wait to just paint
So,
all those Orks.
meanwhile, the other thing I've been doing to fill a little
Can't
bit
wait to see
of
more
my hobby
Orks.
time is
The
I've been
rumor is
sort of
apparently knobs are
theory
going to be a
hammering
kill
on some
team.
army lists using
And apparently
Yes,
their opponents
yes.
are going to be
and I've been looking
the
at.
Legion
I
of
saw
the
somebody had
Damned,
made
which
a
is
really
fairly
interesting little video
intriguing,
on
if that's to
Instagram or
be
somewhere about how you
believed,
could
or
do
if that's
the
just
Folgerist
nonsense.
attachment, which is like land speed
Legion
eccentric.
did get
And so I'm
mentioned
trying to
as
work
being
out
on
how to
Armageddon,
use
so
on a raid
that would
warfare.
fit fairly
Very
well.
fast-moving, sort of attacking and deep striking in force.
Yeah, a lot of people doing.
And Orc kill teams are always great. I mean, we had the Commandos.
Theorying
That's
Yeah,
one
I've
of
been
the
caught up in the
funniest,
wave, I
like,
think.
coolest
What
kids
about
out
you?
there.
Yeah,
Tank
obviously.
Busters
I've
and
got
Breaking
one list
Boys,
for every single
great
faction
kid
in
as well.
40k.
And you've played your first official game of
I
the new
played
edition.
one game, one official game of the new edition so far with my Eldar against some Tau.
You were undefeated retirement.
So far.
Getting going for
Okay.
my first game
Gotta
11
love
this
it.
weekend. I was
Right,
waiting for my
so
box to get
as we
here.
said, we've got loads of things to talk about throughout the course of this preview. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you have a nice time. We are going to start off the show by going to the grim darkness of the far future, and we're going to talk about some things for Warhammer 40,000.
40,000.
So here we are with Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon, the launch box for the new edition, sort of out there in the wild. It's worth talking about some of the things that are coming up, and the first thing that we're going to talk about is how new people to Warhammer might get started in the Warhammer 40,000 hobby with some Warhammer 40,000 starter sets. So here is the Warhammer 40,000
Okay, we
starter
expected
set.
this.
We've got one in the flesh. This is an enormous
This is a
box,
pretty good box,
and
honestly.
is the perfect way if you've never played Warhammer 40,000 before and want to get started to jump straight into the hobby. Eddie, what can you tell us about
Yeah,
it?
so we did know that some of the miniatures from the Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon set would be available in other sets in the future. This is one of the first places you'll be able to get hold of them. So in this, you effectively have a combat patrol of Space Marines, painted as Ultramarines, but you can paint whatever colour you want. You've also got a combat patrol of Orks. You've also got a battlefield of stuff to play across, and effectively a combat patrol's worth of battlefield terrain.
That's a
for-
really good
So
kit.
like,
Yeah, absolutely. This is essentially everything you need to get
mean,
started
price
with the first
withstanding,
game
of
Warhammer
course, but
40,000,
if you
all in
get
one box.
all that mixed
the
with
models pushed
pre-painted
fit, the
stuff,
terrain's really easy to put together.
Just buy two
Got
of these and you're
the
good.
game board and all of the pieces marked out for you to put your terrain on, so you can just play straight out of this box if you want to.
yeah, it's also got all the rules and stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got your core rules and then the sort of the guide.
Yeah, 20
using all of the
boys,
box.
10
So
Grecian.
this is the first of the starter products that we're going to talk about right now, but there's more to come. So what if you wanted to get started in Warhammer 40,000, you don't want the two-player launch set, and you just want maybe a starter set which focuses on one of the factions? Well, this is
And then,
getting
yeah, this is just
started
the
with
Space
Space
Marines.
Marines, and is the same combat patrol that you saw in the previous box, and it comes complete with the paints that you would need to do your first paint jobs on these models. I think it's 11 paints in the set.
11
So you
paints?
can get started right away with the Adeptus Astartes.
Yeah, and this is perfect.
I mean,
if
obviously
you've
this is
already
for
got a game
beginners,
group,
so
they've
not
already got their
necessarily
box
my
sets, they've split them all
wheelhouse,
up,
but
and
I
you've
mean,
got an odd number of
11
players, and what if you want
paints
Space Marines, you
and
can
a
grab
good,
yourself this set
you know,
and start playing
chunk
right
of
away. This
Space
is your
Marines. That's
self-contained
stuff
little
to
starter
see
set
that,
for
you know.
Space Marines.
It will perhaps surprise nobody to know there is an Orc equivalent of this.
Yes, this is almost
The
exactly
Orc
the same
kit
but
is
green.
the Orc one.
So you have
That's just
the
such a
combat
good
patrol
one.
for
Like, you could just
Orcs,
buy
then you've
this
got a
as
bunch
an
of very sweet
extension
Orky
to
paints.
any Orc force
So
in
this is
your
a great
lab.
little set if you want to kick off an Orc army.
We already
and
knew
I
these were
think
coming,
one
of
of the
course,
things to
but
note here, you've already said it, but if you're just looking to sort of join in with an existing group, or maybe just start one of these armies for the first time and you're already in Warhammer 40,000, this really is a great
11
way
paints,
to do it
that's-
because you get the paint.
that is a
process.
significant amount of
Or
paints.
if you just have an Orc army and you just want loads more
Just
boys,
want a bunch of
just want
reinforcements.
loads more Orcs.
Yeah, no kidding. There's another way to get started as well, which is this introductory set, and I find this one to be quite exciting. You've got some Space Marines and some Orcs and some paints, and you can have a gaming experience, but it's really sort of a first steps into the Warhammer 40,000
What is that
gaming and
miniature?
hobby experience.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything, and the thing that's cool about this to point out is that while the other sets, the miniatures, are the same ones from the Warhammer 40,000
New
Armageddon set,
miniatures.
these ones are brand new miniatures. So you've got 5 intercessors in there, you've got a Space Marine Lieutenant. It's been like a whole week since we had a new Space Marine Lieutenant. So
couldn't have come
had
soon
to
enough.
have one.
Yeah, I was
and then
wondering
you've got
what
a
the
new
lieutenant
unit
was
of
in
Orc
Armageddon.
boys. They are the Orc boys are the same kind of unit as the ones you get in Armageddon, but they've got different poses. And critically, you've also got some heavy and special weapons
Yeah, you've
in
got
the
a
Orc
big
squad.
shooter and a rocket launcher inside.
Absolutely.
that
So
set.
if you want to add in some extra
Oh, look
shooting
at that.
into your big Orc mobs, you can, and all the characters are kind of new poses as well. So it's quite a cool little set.
I get weirdly excited about all the different poses of intercessors, particularly the sort of push fit ones, to find them easy to build. And so I'm hoping somebody will split that set with me, Eddie. Just hinting. There you go. We're on. Right. There's also some paint sets. This
Standard
is the
paints
tool
and
set.
tool
This will
set.
synergize perfectly with that.
Well, I'm going to see if they've posted what that new
It's got
Orc
13
miniature was, 'cause
paints.
there definitely was a new
clippers,
one there.
mold
Maybe I
laminating
just
tool,
talked
and a
over it
brush.
like an
Everything you
idiot,
need to
but-
get started with your painting journey. if you've never painted Warhammer models before, this would be a decent pickup.
Yeah, this is a lovely little set. I started with a set a lot like this when I started playing Warhammer. You can paint almost anything with this box because you've got all your primary colours and then black and white and your metallics and some really useful little tools. So this is just a really solid base for a paint.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want one a little more themed towards a particular army, you can start with this, which is very much like the set I started painting with Warhammer, which was an Orks paint set back in the day. This is boys and paints, so you've got 6 paints and a brush and a couple of Ork boys and a grot. Again, just dip your toe into the painting experience and see how you get along. There's a Space Marine equivalent, which is intercessors and paints. Again, 6 paints, a brush, and 2 Space
pretty standard
Marine
stuff.
intercessors. Oh, deep breath. That was a lot of ways to start your Warhammer 40,000 experience, and I think it'd be a good time to like introduce your friends or a family member or relative or whatever that you want to like.
It's a really good time to start playing Warhammer 40,000 because it's a brand new edition out. Everyone's kind of in the same place. Everyone's learning the rules together. This is the perfect time to hop in.
Nice, I love it. So it follows on quite nicely. We're going to talk about some terrain now. So we've got some really interesting terrain kits to point out and talk about. The first is Combat Patrol Battle Zone. So this is all of the terrain you see here in a box, along with the game boards and the tiles to
that's about what I'd expect.
Terrain prints to put the terrain on. This is everything you need in one box to play a complete game of Combat Patrol.
Yeah. And if you've already bought the starter set, if you add this box onto the starter set, you effectively have a full board's worth of terrain for something like an incursion or 2,000 point game of Warhammer 40,000, or in a self-contained set, it is the exact right amount of stuff to play Combat Patrol.
Yeah, and worth pointing out this with this one, this like the models in the starter set are unpainted, so all of these terrain pieces they come on the grey plastic that you're familiar with, easy to put together, and then you can paint them in the colour scheme that suits your board at home or your armies or whatever you would like.
Yeah, this set, Combat Patrol set, comes in around the same price as a Combat Patrol itself.
Perfect. Right. If you want to add more things to it, or you just want to focus on building a terrain board that suits your own preferences, we've got a few little terrain sets to talk about. This is the Manufactured on Ruins, which are those sort of classic building shapes that you often see on battlefields. There's some of these in that Combat Patrol set that we just showed you before. There's more. There's also the galvanic network. This represents these power lines and things that run across the sort of ash wastes of Armageddon, and is a wonderful way to bring some character to your battlefield. And then you've got the capacitor cluster here, which looks like it's writhing with electricity, and you've got like a really unfortunate servitor trapped in the console at the front.
Yeah, life's pretty tough for servitors in Warhammer 40,000.
It is. It's not the best. Now, all of that is really exciting terrain. All comes unpainted, and is all coming fairly soon down the pipe. There's something else we need to explain to people that you've already talked about a little bit with Aidan on a video before, right?
That's absolutely right. Currently, all the terrain in my collection is Eddie painted.
Perfect.
Very soon, I'll be able to also benefit from ready painted terrain. This is the new ready painted Battlefield Armageddon box, and this is everything you need for a full incursion-sized game of Warhammer 40,000 in one box, and all of the terrain in this comes ready painted and ready to go.
Yeah, the box is enormous. It is jam-packed with absolutely loads
It is pretty
of
interesting.
fantastic
Price, of course,
terrain,
is gonna
and
be
we've
the
got
main
one
thing.
here to open. So what we thought we'd do is actually just crack one open and build one of the terrain pieces in it, nice and quickly, to show you what it's like.
While Adam tells you about it, I'm going to build one of the terrain pieces in here to show you how quickly we can make
clipping, right. So what we've got is some nice pictures to show you while Eddie gets feverishly to work. So here you can see what you're doing.
Yeah, we've seen
with.
this
Essentially,
before. It's nothing
it is
too
a
crazy,
full
but it is
battlefield
genuinely a
of
pretty cool
already painted
offering,
terrain.
you know.
Try and talk over the rummaging and crashing of Eddie.
One and done, you have all your terrain.
The set comes with the game boards that you need. It has the terrain markers, so you know where.
Hey, if you know anyone,
onto.
if you're for some reason not a
Obviously, the terrain
Warhammer
is
player
painted
and
to
you
a
know a Warhammer
ready
fan, this would be a
green
great birthday
standard.
present.
So if you are looking
or
to just
a holiday
click
present,
things out
depending.
from the frames, put it together quickly, and start playing a game of Warhammer 40,000 on a battlefield that looks really good, this is a wonderful way to do it. It's going to be enormously popular.
It does look
with
really good
people
because it's
who,
using that UV,
like me at home, I've
UV
already got my
printing,
own terrain board.
where they like put
if I
a
wanted to
special
host a
ink
game
down
night
and
and I
then they
wanted
cure it with
maybe
UV.
like 3 friends to come over,
the
so we could,
detail
like,
is pretty
play
good. It's
round
just
robin
if you get
style
really
games,
close to it,
this would enable
there's a
you to do it nice and
gritty
quickly. You can
graininess
imagine
to it.
gaming clubs and tournaments, and all of those people who have a need for a nice looking battlefield quickly are going to find this to be really exciting.
Feel free to hold that one up.
Oh, there you go. I'll show you what it looks like. Here you go. If we get a zoom in on this. So this is a piece directly off of the frame that Eddie has just worked on.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you can
that
see
is,
the level of
that's an
detail. You've got the
interesting
fantastic
just
glow
one and
effects
done,
around the sort of the
get it,
lumens and
you're
the candles
finished.
and so on. Inside, you can see the interior detail. Some within the sort of the walls, you can see this sort of chipped and very nicely done sort of corrosion dripping down the walls. Really is a very impressive piece of terrain.
Almost there, almost there.
So now we've got 2. Now I always try and put these together too early, so I don't want to ruin it. So essentially, it just push fits. One of the things that we've discovered, the guys who run our global events are really excited about this because it's going to enable them to put together large battlefields very quickly, and you can also unclip these things when you're ready to and put it back into a relatively
I think,
small space.
Yeah, the
There
whole
you go.
thing, actually, if you leave the kind of floors off, then the whole thing... Oh, they took clip out those.
We need to do a bit more clipping.
More
There you
clipping,
go.
tiny bit more clipping. If you take the floors out, the whole thing packs back into the box,
There you go.
pretty much. So that's pretty easy.
Which is nice if you're looking for somewhere to store
That's
your
pretty
models.
convenient, you know? Have the guys over for a weekend, play your games, and then
So
just
one of the
pack it
things I
up.
think that's quite nice about this is I speed painted my entire battlefield, but it took me all of a Saturday to build and then all of a Sunday to speed paint, and it's still not of the same quality as the completion on this. And so you've done the first building in what? The amount of time it's taken us to talk about this. There we go.
That's
Moving
pretty
around.
fast.
And it really does look wonderful. You can see the bulkhead door and everything inside it. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm quite pleased with the effect I've got on some of the glow there as well. I think the dry brushing
Are you
I've achieved on
taking
this.
credit for all this work?
Yeah, I just made this. Sure, saw it.
Lovely. Nice. So this is on its way later in the year. It will come behind all of the other starter products that we just talked about. And so you're looking more towards the autumn time or beyond, right?
Yeah, and in terms of price, this one comes in, it has twice as much terrain as the Combat Patrol Battlefield, and it comes in at a little bit more than the cost of 2 Combat Patrols.
There you go. So yeah, really exciting.
So a little more than 2 consoles, so it's like $350.
We talked about all of the
That's
stars.
pretty
We
much
talked
what
about
I
all the
expected.
terrain,
It's
the ready paint
expensive.
terrain, very exciting. I guess we should talk a little bit about the things that are coming along with the first codex of
Yeah,
11th
we should
edition.
probably do that.
So it's time to look at some orcs.
Fine.
You want some wheels?
Oh, a new mini mech.
Yourself a truck.
New truck?
I've got all the trucks. Big
Whoa.
trucks, bigger trucks, the best trucks. They's got all the gubbins.
That
and
is
guns.
looking
Grabbing tools,
killer.
Rammy bits, shooters, rockets, you name it. Remember, walking is for kicks and grots. Go fast or go home.
Vehicles may explode when fired upon. Safety of transported boys is not guaranteed.
That was fun. It's a good time to be an orc this year, isn't it?
It is. They are getting absolutely spoiled. We can confirm today the first codex is Orks, and alongside the codex there are a
Orcs are
whole
trying to
bunch
say.
of new miniatures. One of the most exciting miniatures on its way is that new truck and that new mech, which are on their
Should we
way.
talk about the mech first?
Let's do the mech first. So, Orc mechs, those of you who know Orcs will know, these are the mechanics that basically put together all of the weird and wonderful creations that go into battle
Whoops.
alongside your
They're
Orcs.
not
They are
much of a
surprisingly good at
character,
Odd
science.
boys with the
Yeah.
innate knowledge to just make awesome things out of scrap.
Gene-coded, innate, kind of
a good
inherited
mini.
knowledge in terms of how to
Really
make
solid.
things
I like the pose,
teleporters
I like
and
the
trucks and
bolt in his
guns and
mouth.
shooters.
Wish I
I
had
love the
those skills.
crane.
Well, I
I'd be
mean,
much
you know,
more
if you
useful
play
around the
stuff, I'm
house.
sure you can do it. But yeah, this is a really cool miniature. It has a kind of really thematic. He's got a kind of spanner clobber thing there. He's got his slugger. But the thing that he really does is kind of bring with him all of the awesome machines that make Orc Army so fun to play in Warhammer 40,000.
So with no further ado, let's talk about the truck then, which is maybe the star of that show. This is the new Orc truck. It's an evolution of the classic Orc truck that you know and love. A little bit bigger, a few more options, and is really just wonderful to look at. It comes with a variety of options. In terms of weapon mounts, you've got the big shooter, you've got the rocket launcher, you have options for a grabber claw and a buzzsaw, and all of those can be swapped in positions on the top so that you can build different configurations to have some great variety as you're making your trucks.
Yeah, this is a phenomenally cool miniature. Like, the current truck is really cool, right?
Absolutely.
The truck that is in current Orc armies is a perfectly good vehicle, but it has
pretty
it's been with it
killer.
for a long time now, right? Like, it's been
What is it, 15 years?
something
more?
like that. Yeah, it's been around for a while. This is a beautiful reinvention of it. The thing that really makes this is the fact that you can build it in so many different ways. Where the pintle mount goes, where the close combat weapon goes, how the boys are positioned, what the driver looks like,
Even
what goes
here on
on
the screen, you can see the way it looks like it's going around the corner because you can alter the look of the suspension.
Yeah, you can kind of play with where the wheels are, and I think especially if you've gone for a really heavy sort of Evil Sons or Speed Freak style army,
Yeah.
and you want to have a bit of variety in your force, this one kit with no changes at all from what comes in the box can be built enough times that you would never need to replicate what a single truck looks like.
Yeah, so we've got a couple here on the desk. The one I'm most excited by is the one with this awesome looking skull prow at the front. It just looks so like mean and orky. This sort of whole skull motif for the orcs is so iconic. Yeah, really fantastic. Now, what we wanted to do, the reason we brought these along, is so I can sandwich this little guy in
make some
between them
space in the parking
and
lot
just
there.
show you, if you've already got some Ork trucks in your collection, how nice they're going to look. Don't you want to mangle the models out?
Yeah, they're about the same size.
I know, right? So this is how it looks with the classic truck in between. It's a really good look. I think
Yeah,
people are going to
if
be
you've
very
already
happy.
got some trucks in your army, you can absolutely keep them alongside these new ones. I think there's something to be said for an Ork army. It's got a bit of a ramshackle look to it. So you could replace them completely, or if you want to have a mix, that's absolutely fine. But I think the new ones just bring, they just look great. They've got so many cool options.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to look phenomenal.
Nice. So that's a couple of fantastic brand new kits coming for the Orks. There's more on the way that people might be able to learn about through the progress of the Death Miner.
Yeah, that's right. So there's lots of Ork stuff still to come. Some of the stuff we're showing you today, some of it will be revealed potentially if
Siege
the
of
Orks do well
Deathmire.
in the Siege of Deathmire campaign that's currently running. So if you want to see some more Orks, play some games, send in your results, and you might get to see some more very, very soon. There are a few other boxes to talk about today, though. We've got the other stuff from Armageddon as well.
Yeah, that's right. So essentially, if you wanted to pick up some of the
Yeah,
things from
those are the
Armageddon
ones I
or
expected
duplicate
to be
them,
the
we're going to be releasing
ones
the
that
Dakarid
remain
separately, the War Track
from
separately, and
Armageddon.
the Weird Boy separately, and also the other sort of command stuff. Is that the right word for an Ork?
Sure, why not?
So the Banner Knob, the Big Boss, and the Pain Boy will be released in a Command Crew set as well. So there's a whole bunch of extra stuff to come. We should probably talk a bit about the Codex itself, though,
Yes.
right? So obviously, this is the first Codex of 11th edition, and it heralds something really exciting in terms of a
I
format
think
change
I called
for
it.
Warhammer 40,000 codexes. So here you can see it's contained in a slipcase, and we've got one live in front of you. So it's a perfect bound book, slightly smaller than the codexes in terms of the height, but it is really thick and is packed with an incredible amount of Orky content.
178 pages it is.
Perfect. And the first thing that I would like to just eulogize on is how incredible the lore section for this is. We are talking a really thick lore section, which is everything you would want to know about the Orks and how they operate. It's got a gatefold map, you can see it here, which is the Orky perspective on the galaxy, all the places that the Orks are fighting, all the different wars that are taking place. But there's a lot more to it than that. It talks about the Orks, where they come from, how they fight, their culture, the different clan structures. Literally the most complete guide on Orks you could hope for. And perhaps
is that a
the
Mega
most
Knob with a big
information
shot? I
on
think it might
Orks
be a
there's
War
ever
Boss
been in
Mega
one place.
Armor, actually.
Every unit gets its own full bestiary section, for example. Information on the glyphs, information on like what clan icons and things that like. It's really great. But also some people might be interested in the rules.
Yeah, so one of the big changes to the rules in this codex versus the previous ones was in the last edition, there was quite a lot of rules in your codex, but quite a lot of them you couldn't use in all the different types of games. So if some of it you could only use in Crusade games, for example, all of the rules in this codex, and there are at least as many rules in this one as there were in the last one, you
Yeah.
can use in every type of game. One of the ways that that manifests, you'll immediately notice, is the amount of detachments that you get to play with. There are
Warhorse Ring had
15
bullied by
different
Run Swarm,
Orc
Shoot the Boys,
detachments
Tactical
in this
Raid,
codex.
Wreckers, the Big
There's loads
Hunt,
of ways
Mad
to
Cat
do
Loads of
Mad
different ways to
Mob,
put your army
Blitz
together,
Brigade,
ranging
Full Speed,
from
Flyboys, Brute
lots
Bosses,
of different
and
sizes
Warman.
in terms of detachment points. It gives you a huge variety of different ways that you can
That's
potentially
what,
put an army
3,
together.
6,
Some of these you could probably guess at the themes. There are like
9,
some fast ones, some stompy ones.
Yeah, the
12,
Flight Boys
15
gives itself away. doesn't
Right,
it?
like so there's some ones you could probably guess at, but there'll be loads of brand new ways that you can put together an Ork army that's just never been possible before, and it gives you a sense of what codexes will feel like in the new edition, where they will bring this huge variety of list building opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's more to it than just the detachments. Obviously, the rules have been looked at by the Warhammer rules team.
Reroll
and
advanced
they've
rolls
come
when
up with some
riled up
things. This is
speed.
the army special rule.
How many
essentially,
Orc units in
Yeah,
this
so
can reroll
war,
that?
right?
Riled
You
up.
can't
These
have
riled
war,
up
you can't have an Orc
units, 5
codex
plus
without a
all
war.
units,
The
range
war
attacks
rule
have
has changed a
assault,
little bit,
and then you just estimate.
so there'll be some things that are familiar. There's some slight changes. It still allows you to run and charge, but it now lets you re-roll that run as well. It also lets you have assault on all of your weapons, which is a thing it didn't used to do. So that means that if you've gone for a very shooty army, so like speed freaks, you've got loads of like bikes and buggies and things.
Yeah, we
that-
stand back with flash kits.
yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
immediately really useful, and it also gives you the riled up ability, which triggers all sorts of things across all the sorts of different bits of the codex, where other units will become more powerful, and you still get that invulnerable save as well to make your.
It's a
orcs.
really great.
It's a
army rule,
really, really good rule. For one turn of the game, you'll have a great turn every single game.
Yeah, and then all of the units within the codex have had their data sheets looked at. So here's the truck that we just showed you before, and you can see what's gone on with it. So you can see the different weapon options and things
Fine, get
to give you a sense of what it means for your codex, I suppose.
Yeah, so what you'd expect, it still kind of has a similar-ish stat line to
Dual
what the
big
truck does at the
shooter,
moment. It
rocket
is a kind of
launcher.
medium-sized
Ooh, big
vehicle.
shooter has lethal
The things
hits,
that you'll
non-monster
notice are that it
vehicle,
has more
rapid
weapon
fire
options than
four,
it used to, so you've
or
got options there for
twin
different combat
linked? Oh, no,
weapons,
it's dual
different
big
shooting
shooter, it's
weapons.
not twin
Piling
linked.
out is quite a nice
Yeah,
thing, isn't
you've
it?
got a really cool little mechanic where if an enemy unit gets nearby, something like a unit of fire dragons or eliminators or something is ready to kind of ready to kill your truck, you can pile the boys out, ready to kind of countercharge or to avoid being caught in the explosion or something like that. So really useful.
Rocket
little stuff,
launchers
some
getting
quite
multiple
neat
profiles.
little tactical plays you can do with it.
It's got
So I
wall fire
think
in
trucks are
deck
going to be very useful.
12.
Yeah, perfect. And then in terms of other data sheets been looked at, it would be worth looking at the Orc boys, who really have had something of a
Combi
stat line
rocket.
glow up.
Oh
it's fair
my
to say.
God.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this data sheet, and I think I would recommend if you've got an Orc army, take a screenshot of this.
Yeah,
Cool stuff.
that was the moment to record this.
There's the first thing you'll notice is there's loads of weapon options. So one of the things we got asked a lot about the Armageddon box was, is that all the options that the Orcs will have in the new edition? It absolutely
we got
isn't.
combi
You've got loads of different
scorches.
choices.
In fact, more than you've had recently.
Combi
More than you think
shooters,
you've ever had for an Orc unit. You've got some classic
rocket
stuff returning. So
launchers.
you've got
They
a
burners,
burner,
yeah, they brought
Big
burners
fan
back.
of not having roll to hit.
which is pretty cool. You've got loads of different options for your boss's
Oh, it's a
weapon. And the thing I want to draw your attention to is almost kind of tucked away right at the bottom of that stat line there is the strength of a basic Orc boy is now 5. And that is
Such bad news for
that
Space
is an
Marines.
across the codex update to your Orcs. Every single Orc is at least strength 5 all of the time now. So that goes for boys, it also goes for your kind of beast snaggers,
interesting, it's
and
a
all of the
flat
things like your knobs and
burn a
war bosses and
flat
everything get a commensurate
burn a-
increase as well. So your already pretty scary Orcs get even scarier
The
all the
boys
time.
look horrifying.
Fantastic. I think it just looks like a load of great information. I'm really excited
I'm going to
about
have a
this
great
codex.
time with this codex.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a really good time.
And it heralds something really interesting. The last thing to talk about with the codex is obviously in the back of it, it includes the code that you will put into your Warhammer 40,000 app to unlock and access the rules. It does something else on top of that. This is kind of like your passport to ongoing content for your Warhammer 40,000 Orc codex throughout its lifespan. There will be regular drops of lore and rules so that you can continue to get great stuff out of your codex as the time continues. They've given us a sneak peek into some of the stuff that's coming, and it sounds both really cool and really thematic. So I'm quite excited to see what happens with that. And then I imagine all the other codexes that follow.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. So yeah, the first codex coming down the pipe is Warhammer 40,000 Orcs, and it looks amazing.
Do stick around. We have more Warhammer 40,000 for you later in the preview.
Yes,
as
yeah,
well,
we'll be
so do stick
returning
around.
to the 41st millennium later on in the show. For now, though, we're going to segue into something which is quite interesting. We've talked a lot about ways to get people who are new to Warhammer started with Warhammer 40,000. So let's talk for a little bit about the Warhammer Academy.
Yeah, this is just their Warhammer thing. Well, I just realized I've not been checking chat. My bad, guys. It's alright. I'm looking at the... Also, wait, the knob has 3 wounds!
Wise wizard beneath the mountain, we are in search of enlightenment. Long and difficult has been our journey, and many things are still hidden from us.
Tell me what you seek.
What is the difference between the Black Rage and the Red Thirst?
How do you get decals to lay smoothly on a Space Marine shoulder?
Yeah.
And how exactly do you use command points?
Ah! So you seek to learn the ways of Warhammer.
So, wise wizard beneath the mountain. What is the Warhammer Academy?
I'm so glad you asked, Eddie. Warhammer Academy is a really exciting thing that we've been working on behind the scenes here at Games Workshop for a while now, and is the perfect way to answer the question, how do I get started with Warhammer? The idea is that people can come to this website, which is free to use, and they can get guided first steps on how to begin exploring Warhammer. So there's going to be at launch like well over 100 videos, which are all video lessons that deal with the lore and collecting, with painting and modeling, and with gaming, to get you on your first steps. I'm out of breath, I have to throw this costume on, to get you started on your sort of first steps through Warhammer. when the website launches, it will focus on Warhammer 40,000 to coincide alongside all of these new starter products, so that people can experience Warhammer for the first time and go through sort of learning all about the universe and what the factions and the armies are, and really going on that same journey that we've all been when we've been able to sit down with somebody who's told us all about what Warhammer is. And then the painting team have put together these amazing videos that start really basic and then go all the way through to some really great tactics that will have your army looking fantastic. And then the gaming side takes it from the assumption you've never played a game of Warhammer before and takes you all the way through to playing your first games of Combat Patrol, which we played and had a lot of fun with. And so you should be able to have a wonderful experience. If you are completely new to Warhammer, or there's somebody in your life that wants to get started, this is a wonderful thing to point them towards when we launch it, and they'll be able to take their first steps. If you want to sharpen your own skills, we talk about, as we've been working on the Academy, the idea that you can build your skills, your confidence and your experience to get the most out of this wonderful Warhammer that you all enjoy. And so the whole purpose of this Academy, which is free to use, is to just get on board and sharpen those skills and your confidence and have a great time.
Sounds wonderful.
Nice. And the releases alongside those Warhammer 40,000 starter sets that we talked about previously, so not long now, a month or so, and then you'll be able to see Warhammer Academy for yourself.
That's great.
Perfect. I'm really excited. Right, now I'm going to get out of this costume, and while we do, let's travel to the old world.
Oh yeah, Warriors of Chaos. Ooh, they look killer. Oh, Lord on Chaos. I think it's time for me to get to Overworld.
Welcome back. I've returned to normal, and we are now thrilled by some news for Warhammer the Old World. That was a great looking box of miniatures. There's a lot to talk about. We've got some of the models here to get close-ups on in a little while.
Crazy.
For now, let's dive into that new 2-player box for Warhammer the Old World. This features 2 armies going head-to-head. You have the army of Grand Cathay going up against the Chaos Warriors. So within it you will see in a moment the Cathay force. This is Grand Cathay. They're fairly recent addition
Yeah, they're
to
quite new
Warhammer the Old
miniatures, aren't
World.
they, these ones?
And this is an army you'll have already seen before. So you've got the Jade Warriors, you've got the Jade Lancers, units that you'll be familiar with. And they're taking a big part in the sort of ongoing struggles in the Old World at the moment. They've dispatched an enormous force to aid in against the Chaos invasion that's taking place. It's a beautiful army. You've seen it before. The showstopper for this new box is the wonderful new range of all plastic Warriors of Chaos, which you'll find in the other half of this box set. So here you can see the Chaos Warriors themselves.
Yeah, this is an amazing update to your Warhammer Old World Warriors of Chaos. Warriors of Chaos, of course, one of the archetypal villains, well, the archetypal visuals, really, of Warhammer, the Old World. This is a really cool army. All the bits in this are multi-part, and these are all brand new plastic miniatures.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Chaos Warriors are kind of the mainstay of the Warriors of Chaos army. These are elite heavy infantry in the best armor that you can get in Warhammer the Old World, and they stride forward in ranks of hard to kill warriors, and they will deal punishment when they get there. Of course, they are but part of this new force. The other part, and perhaps the most iconic of the Warriors of Chaos units, are the Chaos Knights. These are super elite heavy cavalry. Inside this new box you get 4 Chaos Knights. It's a classic size if you remember days of yore. You're going back in time a long way now, when Chaos Knights used to often feature in units of 4. So you have what you'd expect: a champion, a musician, a standard bearer, and then an additional knight. They can be swapped out with the lances that you see here in the picture.
And
so
you can
get
add
bigger.
into the unit, obviously, and make
absolutely.
it bigger.
You get 4 in the box. You'll be able to get more as time goes on. So if you want to build bigger units of Chaos Knights, you certainly will be able to. Chaos Knights are some of the hardest hitting and most dangerous cavalry units in all of Warhammer.
They're also just like almost the archetypal heavy cavalry, right? Like
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you build an army for Warhammer the Old World, you're like, well, I can take a charge, but could I take a charge from Chaos Knights?
Probably
it's like
not.
the absolute pinnacle of the hardest hitting unit. So lots of people very keen to include this unit in their army if you've got a Chaos Force. So almost never see a Chaos army without a unit of Chaos Knights. They're just so effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the force is led by some champions of chaos. You have one on foot and one on horse. This one here you can see is modelled as a battle standard bearer. The kit contains enough options that you can swap around the things. So in a moment, as we see the screen progress, you'll see some of the things you can do. It also has a chaos champion on a demonic mount. This is my favourite model in the set. It is beautiful and is a really iconic image of
I think it looks like the artwork of Chaos Warriors from some of those old Warhammer Fantasy army books, and the miniatures have finally got to the point where they can capture like the thing that you sort of imagined that Chaos Warriors, what you wanted them to look like all those years ago. It's just such a cool kit. I love the standard bearer as well. I think this champion kit is one of the best sort of hero kits that Warhammer has yet released.
Yeah, I don't have a Chaos Army for Warhammer, I never have, but I would really like to get my hands on that model. I think it just works beautifully. So let's talk for a little bit about that box. It's a 2-player core box for Warhammer the Old World. It's essentially what you need to start playing Warhammer the Old World if you haven't before. It's an enormous box. It contains the armies. It also contains the rulebook and a muster list. The rulebook is the same rules as you currently use for Warhammer the Old World. So if you're sat there worrying that this is going to change the rules that you're playing with, it won't. The difference really with this rulebook and the rulebook you already have, if you're already playing the Old World, is that the erratas and things that exist online are woven into this. So that should make life a little bit easier.
You can bring just this book and you don't need to worry about any other documents. or anything. You
Exactly.
can just
And then further to that, it has an additional section called Battle March. We'll talk more about that in a little
I
while.
saw another miniature when we were showing up some of that
Yeah,
Chaos
we'll
stuff.
just talk about the muster list before we go. Muster list is the rules for the models that are in the box. There you go. This is how to play Warhammer all in one handy box, and is very exciting and continues the thing that we know and love. Now,
Let's talk dragons, Adam.
yeah, let's talk dragons. We're all very excited. This might be my favourite thing in the entire preview. It is such a show-stopping model. This is the Warriors of Chaos, Lord on Chaos Dragon, and there's so much to talk about. Eddie?
You just get a sense of the size of it just from that shot where it was already taller than the 3-story buildings
Yeah,
that
no
are behind
kidding.
it. It is an absolutely enormous, phenomenally cool miniature for Warhammer the Old World. I think probably the biggest monster we've had released yet.
It's got to be right up there, and there have been some fantastic kits since Warhammer the Old World launched. There's things to talk about. The first, I want to just wax lyrical on how cool Chaos Dragons are. We've seen this image before of Chaos Dragons with 2 heads. There used to be a special character Chaos
You had
Dragon.
Garak the Chaos Dragon, which was the kind of one that had eaten the Lord of Change, and then before that you had Von Horstmann,
That's right,
who
yeah.
was the kind of former College of Magic in the Empire
There you
character, who was on a 2-headed Tzeentchian dragon. But that's a long time ago. We've never had a plastic version of it. A plastic 2-headed Chaos Dragon has been a long time coming, and I
just
think
looks
even
so
though we've
good.
waited decades for it, this is worth the wait. This
Yeah,
is a
absolutely.
really cool model.
It's also what we sometimes call a 2 for kit, in that you can make a different option with it. So you've seen the Chaos Lord. This is a Sorcerer Lord, and there's some differences. The first is the Rider. Obviously, he's now a hunched and wizened Chaos Sorcerer, which is a powerful unit in its own right. It can be up to a level 4 wizard. He's not bad in a fight. He's backed up by a 2-headed Chaos Dragon. Everything you would.
Yeah, you're not going to kill him with a light cavalry unit.
No, absolutely not. Additionally, there's some slight differences with the dragon itself. You'll notice that this one has sort of different frills and things. So if you wanted 2 dragons, you could have different riders on them and they would look a bit different. And then with a little bit of sort of paint magic, what you've got is 2 very striking, different looking Chaos Dragons in your army. Very exciting centerpiece model. The images that the video team have put together here capture its majesty. It's possibly even better in the flesh, and we have it on the desk here, so you can see it looming over some of these new Chaos Warrior models.
Yeah, one of the things we haven't mentioned as well is just next to the Chaos Dragon, just below it here, whichever one you don't build, so if you build the Chaos Lord on the Dragon, you get a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on foot, and if you build the Sorcerer Lord on the Dragon, you get a Chaos Lord on foot. So whatever way you build this, you get basically 2 very
Yeah,
powerful
so this
hero
is the
miniatures.
Sorcerer Lord that you would get if you build it with the Chaos Lord, and then this is the Chaos Lord on foot if you build
Yep.
it with the Sorcerer. So, ooh, crikey. Always worried that I'm going to destroy a heavy metal model live on video. Really a great kit. You can see all the other things in
Just
front
the
of us
size
as well.
of it as well. I
Yeah.
mean, these are big models, right? The Chaos Knights are not small cavalry models, and this is about 4 times the height of them. So it's a big old beast, and also just phenomenally good in the game as well, right? Like a Chaos Lord on a two-headed Chaos Dragon is up there with the very best units in all of Warhammer: The Old World. There's almost nothing that can go toe-to-toe.
I just want to, before we move on from
Oh,
Chaos
hey, I
Warriors,
guess I'll just
have a look at the back of the Chaos Champion on horse. You can see all of this amazing extra detail. He's got like fur under his saddle. He's got like heads hanging from chains. Like the detail on these models is just wild.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's worth calling out actually about these Chaos Warriors particularly is that these are Chaos Warriors designed for Warhammer: The Old World, so they're meant to look like the logical extension of the kind of Marauder
Absolutely,
archetype.
they're very much sort of the chaos armored barbarians from the north.
But there's still a little bit of that kind of like barbarian raider vibe to them. They've got the look of someone who's kind of walked out of the Arctic North of the Warhammer world, so that
He's
they're
about to ransack the old world.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to love it. Right. Obviously, alongside the new core box, people might want to get their hands on some other things that would be useful. So here you can see common magic items and laws of magic. These are cards which enable you to do quick reference as you're playing your games and can be very useful.
what a reveal
They're not
show so
required,
far, huh?
obviously, the rules for these things exist inside the book. There's also another thing that we said we would talk about a little bit. This is Battle March, the General's Companion. Now, Battle March is a new way to play games of Warhammer: The Old World. The way this works is that you build smaller forces, not unlike Spearhead or Combat Patrol, between 400 and 700 points, and then you unleash them in games that are quicker to play and more straightforward. There's some rules in this companion which sort of detail how you make your force, so there's some limitations on what you can and can't take and some requirements, and then there's different scenarios to play.
Oh, and I think my package just got here.
Rules for Battle March are in the new rulebook, and there's those rules and more information and more scenarios and ways to play are found inside this Battle March General's Companion. So whichever one you want to take as your option in, you can start playing, I don't know, like lunchtime leagues or maybe like a campaign across a weekend of like quick turnaround games.
Or if you've just started an army for the first time and you maybe haven't got enough to play a full-size game, you can still play with a smaller force.
Yes. Now, to help you with that, they are releasing the first of our Battle March armies.
Alright,
So
I'm
this
back.
is the Warriors of Chaos
Warriors
and
of Chaos
Grand Battle March armies, and they contain a variety of units
Mine, I guess it
deliberately
went down to the
designed
package
to give you a
lockers,
good
which I might have to go get anyways because I don't want
totally
to be
add
lingering
things
down there.
to the
I don't
new
want to miss
box,
this.
and then you have nice big armies if you want to.
Yeah,
play
we were
large games.
talking about if you add either of these boxes onto your the new sets coming out with the Warriors of Chaos and the Army of Grand Cathay, and then you add something like a monster like a two-headed dragon, and
Or a
you
Cathayan dragon,
or a
perhaps?
Cathayan dragon, you've pretty much got an army ready to go. These are really lovely places to start a force, or just a really good way to bolt on loads of troops onto an army.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also more coming for the old world. This is the Arcane Journal, The March of Chaos. This continues the narrative that we're seeing unfold in the old world at the moment. The Chainbreaker, this Chaos Lord, is descending from the north.
Sounds
with
good.
an enormous throng. They're plowing through the northern
I hate to do
provinces
this.
of the
Well,
Empire.
I don't even think anyone's
Even
on
the
my screen
forces
now.
of Grand Cathay have been
No,
called
it is
in,
on the screen.
volunteered themselves to come in and try and stave off this invasion. And it's a grim
quickly.
affair.
Alright,
Magic is being fired around
well,
everywhere.
that's a
So that card deck is for magic ploys. Which the winds of magic are blowing so furiously that there's loads of different magic escapades and things to get on with. It's a really good time to be playing Warhammer Old World right now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the narrative they're kind of weaving as well about all these different invasions leading up to a big war. Some would say a great war.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, I like that. That was a good deep cut if you know your Warhammer history. So, slight segue. It's not quite the Old World, but it's very similar. Let's talk about Blood Bowl for a minute. Blood Bowl is the game of fantasy football, and there is some really exciting things to show with the release of the new Spike Journal. This is Spike Journal 22. Blood Bowl 7s is the theme. What's Blood Bowl 7s? I hear you ask. Well, I'm glad
Blood
you
Bowl 7s, Adam?
There you go, perfect. Blood Bowl 7s is essentially a way of playing Blood Bowl which is akin to like rugby 7s or five-a-side football. So you're compacting your team, you're playing faster games on a smaller pitch. It's very frenetic. It really changes quite a lot of the tactics and the ways that you would play, and makes for a entirely different and very fun experience. You get 4 of your positionals in this game, so you've got quite a lot of skills and things on the tabletop, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm excited for this, but I'm even more excited for what we're about to show you, which is some fantastic new Blood Bowl miniatures. The first of which is a new big one available for several teams. This is the Rat Ogre.
I love this model. I think the thing that I most love about it is if you look on his shoulder, he has a little rat with a piece of cheese and a flag on his tail.
That is beautiful, but is it better or as good as a rat wearing a gas mask and carrying a lump of warp stone?
It's very close, and I think you'll have to make that decision for yourself when you get hold of your own Rat Ogre. I think the cheese
could
takes
build your Rat Ogre without either of those rats, but boo.
I mean, you could if you wanted to not have a rat on his shoulder. Yes, you could do without.
The funny thing is,
does anyone want that?
This is also a great model, but if you're not taking one of the rats, I think you've gone mad. This is available for a number of teams. Obviously, you can use it in the Skaven team, but also the Underworld Denizens and the Chaos Renegade teams. If you want some real muscle to go in there and just clobber the enemy, break the enemy line so that your team can run through.
You've got some mutation options in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of big uns, there's another one on the way. This is a Minotaur.
Or Minotaur.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another one of those iconic, heavy-hitting Blood Bowl units, and it's again available for a variety of Blood Bowl teams. You can use it in the Chaos Chosen, you can use it in the Chaos Dwarf list, you can use it in the Chaos Renegade teams, and here you can see the different ways you can build it to fit more in with the teams that you're used to using.
Yeah, so this one here on the screen at the moment, rather than hands or even hooves, has got kind of scorpion claws.
Why catch the ball, right?
Yeah, he's not going to do much catching, but he might do even better clobbering than a regular Minotaur.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, those are wonderful. The thing I'm most excited about, not just for this Blood Bowl reveal, but maybe in all of Blood Bowl, is our next reveal.
He is your favourite, Adam.
Morgenthau is my favourite thing about Blood Bowl. I absolutely love him. He's been an iconic character from right from the start. There is a new multi-part plastic Morgenthau model coming, and he is wonderful. The kit enables you to make him in one of 3 very iconic designs. Here you can see the Reichland Reavers one, which really sort of connects to that iconic artwork that we're used to seeing with Morg. Here is another version. This is him in his gouged eye motif when he played for an Orc team, and you can see like the Orc charms and things around his neck. This is for the Chaos All-Stars when he played with that team. That was his first ever team. You see he's still got hair.
You can see he's also got each of the Chaos Gods icons on his little chain around his neck as well, which is really cool.
Absolutely love it. If you are unfamiliar with Blood Bowl or Morg in particular, let me just tell you, he is genuinely one of the best.
Adam, can you take him in a halfling team?
You can, and I have used him to lead my halflings to almost glory a number of times. Yeah. I love him. He's so good. He hits like a freight train. He's really heavily armored. He's got great skills, mighty blow, loads of armor, everything you could possibly want, and he costs a load of points. So halflings are really cheap. So
can he throw halflings?
He can throw a halfling. In fact, my halfling, my favourite halfling, Captain Colin Head, scored many a touchdown and nearly died as he would be lobbed down the pitch. I could talk about Morg for far too long. He's coming soon. I'm very excited. Please let me have one. Let's look at the models. Okay.
I gave you all the Morgs.
There we go. These are the beautiful heavy metal painted Morg models, and here you can see what they look like. So going sort of from this side onwards, this is where you to build them in that sort of gouged eye look.
I got Armageddon.
Armor looks like these sort of armor.
If anyone in chat,
so you got different armor, different heads, different chest.
This was down in the mail.
A bunch of different
yeah, and then this is Morg with the Reichland Reavers uniform, and then
from I think.
Did I miss anything aside from Old World?
I think he's appeared on a couple of covers, and then
did I miss anything?
If you wanted to do them as Chaos All Stars, you use this one. But ultimately, build your Morg how you want, and just go and clobber the enemy and score some touchdowns.
No, just
we have the other models on the table as well.
Blood
you
Bowl,
can see the Minotaur, a Rat Ogre, and then another Minotaur. These are all above the average lineman. There you go. That's the real star.
He's the star. Yeah.
Perfect. So there we go. A good time for Blood Bowl. 3 amazing new big characters coming your way. A new way to play Blood Bowl in the New Spike Journal. I'm very excited about this. And we are nowhere near done with this preview.
Let's keep going.
Right. Why don't we go to the Age of Darkness?
Heresy. Yeah, here we go. Custodies. Oh.
Welcome back. We have really excited to talk now about the Adeptus Custodes or Legio Custodes.
Well,
which one is it, Eddie?
It's both, Adam, because the new box set that's on its way is a reinforcement set for the Custodes, and you can use it for either Warhammer the Horus Heresy or Warhammer 40,000. And just in case you didn't believe us, we put the logos on the box.
It couldn't be clearer.
No confusion. You can absolutely use this for either game system. There are 6 models in this box, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you
realize how big they are,
until you look at the models, which are huge and awesome. So let's start with the fastest unit in that box.
Yeah, these are the Gerfalcon jet bikes, an iconic unit from the Legio Custodes Force. They are fast-moving, hard-hitting, heavily armed and armoured units which are designed to storm in and break the back of enemy forces. Each custodian is armed like to the teeth. There's loads of things to talk about here. The first thing would be to mention that there's different guns that come on these models. Essentially, you have a choice of the Adrathic Devastator, Arachnus Polygun, twin Corvée Pulse Laser. That's the over and under one. You can see it looks a bit like an over and under shotgun. And then you also have the Lastrum bolt cannon. So loads of different weapons to do loads of different jobs.
Yeah. So one of the things in a Custodes army, obviously, is you haven't got a lot of units because they tend to cost a lot of points. So you might find that you've got a couple of things that your army's not very good at doing. And one of the things that units like this can do with loads of different options is you go, actually, I really need some help to kill monsters or infantry or something. So you can kit these out with almost a gun for almost any occasion, right?
Absolutely.
You can have different guns across the unit, or you can actually go, I just want them all to be really good at killing vehicles, give them the best thing for killing the specific vehicle, I think, that I'm weakest into.
Yeah, all of them also have a Solarite Power Lance, which is a formidable power weapon.
It is
especially
enormous. The Solarite Lance, it's about 3 times the length of a Space Marine.
Yeah,
I reckon you could kebab about 5 Chaos Space Marines on that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 4 of these inside the set, which is a brilliant unit to go spearheading around the battlefield and just bring pain to the enemy. It's not the only thing that moves fast in this box. We also have the Pallas Gravatac.
The Pallas Gravatac is a fast-moving skimmer for the Custodes. You can kit it out with either anti-infantry or anti-vehicle stuff. It works a little bit like a land speed is probably the way to think about it, and it's very useful for Custodes because you tend to have a lot of very expensive models, so you don't have very many small units. So this can zip around the battlefield, take in objectives, getting the enemy where they're hiding in a way that your infantry are very good at holding ground, but not very good at kind of chasing stuff down.
Smells like
and this is
Alabama.
another one of those units you can use to sort of cater for where you think you might need additional strength. Has 2 weapons to choose from: the twin Arachnus Blaze Cannon or the twin Iliastus Accelerator Fusel. Say those in a hurry, so you can tailor your Pallas to deal with particular threats.
But I think the showstopper of this box is undoubtedly the
that a new
Telamon
Telamon
Dreadnought.
gun?
This is a brand new multi-part plastic kit, a reinvention of the resin version, the already very nice resin version of the Telamon Dreadnought, but in glorious multi-part plastic, keeping all the posability with even more detail and even more weapon options.
Yeah, speaking of weapon options, I'll walk you through them. Between its shoulder blades, you can see the Spiculus missile launcher. But there are other weapon options too. Here you can see the Iliastus Accelerator Culverin, the Adrathic Devastator, and the Arachnus Storm Cannon. On his other hand, so you can build those as you will, choose the one that suits your loadout. On the other hand, you have the Kestus, that's essentially fancy Legio Custodes terms for Power Fist, with twin Neutronium Cascade Projector. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like a flamethrower, but with neutroniums.
Here's my
Absolutely.
war track.
Neutronium's more deadly than flame.
Space
apparently.
Gotta
Marine
be, right?
Command.
One of those guns is, of course, new. The one that's currently equipped. The name escapes me. Sorry. The
Oh, I think you are talking about the Iliastus Accelerator Culverin.
exactly that one. And this is just a really beautiful kit, right? So you could paint this up very quickly if you wanted to, like a gold spray and then a wash would make it look beautiful. But equally, if you wanted to take your time over all the detail of this, it is absolutely
track.
dripping in detail, more detail even
Vanguard
than was on
veterans
some of
and
those
stuff.
resin
War boss,
versions of this when
definitely
it came
wanna
out.
build that.
We have
Where's my
one on the
Dagger
table,
rig?
and we brought along some other dreadnoughts, so you could sort of see how it scales up.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. This Telamon Dreadnought is ever so slightly larger than the resin one. So we brought a Leviathan Dreadnought.
Do you remember when you saw a Leviathan for the first time and thought, you're never going to be
Nothing could ever be cooler than a
absolutely.
Leviathan Dreadnought. And he's still pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
Leviathans
absolutely.
a lot. But the Telamon Dreadnought stands a good head above the even the Leviathan.
And with last summer's release, lots of people may have got their hands on a Saturnine Dreadnought, and here you can see there's some similarity between these two in terms of the shape of the shoulder pads and
the
things.
Dagger rig.
The Telamon is a little taller, the Saturnine is a little bit broader.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one definitely is got more mass to it. Like the weight of it looks heavy, but the Telamon stands ever so slightly taller, which might just mean that the Custodes didn't want to kind of ever look up at a Space Marine. I think that's probably the point, isn't
Yeah,
it?
why not? I like it. So all of these models that we've talked about, so the Gerfalcon jet bikes, the Pallas Gravatac, and the Telamon Dreadnought will be available in plastic for the first time as part of this box set, and then available separately later down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can use them, definitely use them for both Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer Horus.
You absolutely can. One of the new detachments for the Custodies in Warhammer 40,000 has some specific upgrades for Telemon Dreadnoughts as well. So there is.
Great, nice. So that's not everything for the Age of Darkness. We also have a new General Tactica on the way. This is General Tactica Prospero Burns, the Judgment of Valdor, and this deals with the actions of Constantine Valdor and the Legio Custodes during the burning of Prospero, when they joined forces with the Space Wolves to bring judgment to Magnus and his errant sons.
Yeah, we know quite a lot about the burning of Prospero. We've seen it from the Thousand Suns perspective. We've seen it from the Space Wolves perspective. We know that the Custodies were there, but we haven't really heard much about what the Custodies were up to. And this explores that. You kind of find out what they were doing while the two legions were taking chunks out of each other. One of the things that's quite cool about it is that the Custodies obviously on one side. On the other side, there are some Thousand Suns, but the main antagonist really for them is a demonic foe.
Yeah, absolutely. For the first time, this presents for this edition a full army list for the Demons of Siege, including new psychic disciplines. So you can start using the warp denizens of the patron who is presiding over the ruin of Thousand Suns.
Or Salvation, possibly.
No,
as they see it.
absolutely
No,
not. They
probably
haven't
it is
got what they
probably-
deserve.
yeah.
There's even more stuff in there than we've talked about here. There's some new rules for the Solo Auxilia. There's a whole bunch of stuff. This is a packed General Tactica, which really shines a light on an area of the Horus Heresy we've not looked at before. So it's quite
Yeah,
exciting.
and that's the best kind of Horus Heresy games, ones where you're going back to those iconic moments in the lore and refighting it. Like, what if it was a little bit different? What if you had a slightly different mix? What if the tactics were different?
Yeah, absolutely.
Recreating those amazing stories is what it's all about.
So, sticking with the Age of Darkness, but going a bit smaller as we look at some Legions Imperialis.
Possibly bigger.
But yes, bigger and smaller at the same time. We have 3 models we're going to talk about now. These are models for the Titan Legions. This is the Warlord Battle Titan with Quake Cannon and Conversion Beam Extirpator. To extirpate means to destroy utterly, and that is what the weapon loadout on this Warlord Titan will do. As you see this video playing before you, you can see what all the different weapons are. There's a whole bunch, and they have really long and difficult to say live on air names, such as
But
the
you should still
Conversion
try,
Beam
I think.
Extirpator. So this is a kit which will come packaged all together, so you get the Warlord Titan and all of these weapons. It includes some extra bits and pieces, so there's some guns to go on the turrets, you've got Gatling blasters and laser destructors, you have 2 Warlord heads inside the kit, and it also contains all the cards you would need to use this if you were playing Adeptus Titanicus.
Nice.
If you just want the weapons, they'll be available separately, you just won't get all the cards with it. Cool. This is one of 3 things we're going to talk about. The next one is the Warlord Battle Titan with Volkite Destructor and Macro Gatling Blaster. Again, not a thing to say too quickly on a Friday night. Here is another towering god engine of the Titan Legions. It has a whole bunch of different weapons which you can see playing out on your screen. They include the Graviton Ruinator, which you can see here. It's the biggest Graviton gun I've ever seen. Volkite Destructor, Macro Gatling Blaster, and the Vulcan Mega Bolter Array, which sits on its shoulders. It also includes a Warlord Titan heads and those cards I mentioned before if you wanted to play Adeptus Titanicus.
But Adam, what if I had a slightly smaller Titan but still wanted loads of massive guns?
And complicated names, then you are going to be fine, because this is the Titan Legion's Reaver Titan with Graviton Obliterator and Volkite Annihilator. A mid-sized Titan that packs an incredible punch with weapons such as the
I need to buy one of these mini
Graviton
Titans.
Obliterator,
I love
the Volkite Annihilator.
And it's just a
also
way to get a
has
Titan
a
without
Vulcan Mega
spending,
Bolter option for its
an entire
carapace,
month's rent and
and you
expenses
just saw
on
it there. My favourite, possibly, of all the names that we've had this evening, which is the Conversion Beam Dissolutor.
Those are some cool guns and some great verbs.
Yeah, it also has a Reaver head and the cards you would need to play in Adeptus Titanicus. And you can get the weapon separately should you desire no more Titans. What's wrong with you? There we go. Pretty exciting should you play Little Hell.
What is this?
There we go.
Data
Just
sheet
take
cards.
a breather. Now might be the time to talk a little bit about something coming to Warhammer Plus very soon. There is a new animation. Look at the Butcher's Nails.
Ooh, we got a heresy animation. That did look maybe a bit more 40. Our butcher here. Just gonna be from the perspective of a butcher. Alright, yeah. Corn Berserker, I mean. Ah, that looks fun, huh? In
That
Orks.
looks a bit good, Eddie. What can you tell us about Butcher's Nails?
Yeah, this is a new animation coming to Warhammer TV for Warhammer Plus subscribers. It is a one-off standalone episode, so it's a hammer and bolter episode of Warhammer 40,000. And effectively, it tells the story of a Khorne Berserker who is part of a chaos assault on an Imperial stronghold. As you would imagine for a World Eater story, it is incredibly violent. It is by some margin the bloodiest and most violent piece of Warhammer animation we have yet featured on Warhammer TV, and it is pretty much non-stop carnage from the moment that the shots open to the final battle.
Fantastic. Here you can see a shot that we saw, something like this in the trailer. This looks like the head-up display inside the helmet of the World Eater.
Yeah, so not all of it, but some of the animation is shown from the literal perspective of the World Eater, who is obviously a little bit unhinged. The Butcher's nails are starting to bite. If he doesn't get continuous kills and carnage, he starts to go kind of slowly insane, and he basically is chopping his way through as many enemies as he can find, partly to try and achieve victory, but mostly just to try and make the whining of the nails cease even for the briefest of moments.
Fantastic. And we got a sense of who is fighting, but what's the battle between who?
I mean,
who are the
he almost really, he doesn't really mind what the battle is,
anybody's
really. Khorne doesn't care as long as the blood flows. There are definitely some Astra Militarum, there's some guardsmen, some unfortunate guardsmen who have to stand up against the Khorne Berserker.
Space Marines of the Imperial
There are
Fist.
some Space Marines of the Imperial Fist. There's some other Chaos Space Marines in the mix.
Who I'm sure
as well.
don't get in the way
They'll
at
get
all.
on fine, I'm sure.
Lovely.
You know, it's not like they're known for betrayal or anything. It's all good. But
Fantastic.
yes, it's going to be a non-stop action carnage fest. It's a really fun animation.
Perfect. And coming out fairly soon.
It comes out in August.
Awesome. That's very exciting. So, from the Butcher's Nails and Warhammer Plus, let's go to the Mortal Realms for something
Sigmar.
more.
The maw opens.
Oh, boy.
Hungering predator, sun eater, the gulping god. I see his will in the meat, in the marrow, in the blood. He is the hunger that endures through winter and war. He calls us to feast, to swallow
looking ogres.
the realms. Eat, eat, eat. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. His champion comes.
That was very exciting to see such a large amount of models coming soon to the Mortal Realms with these new Ogre tribes. Eddie, where do we even start?
I am super excited about this release. This is an enormous range refresh for the Ogre tribes. There's so much to talk about. I think let's start with the army set, which is coming out. This is the first place you'll get a chance to get your hands on some of the new miniatures. This is an enormous army launch set, a little bit like what we've seen with some of the armies recently.
Yeah, like the Hellsmiths and so on.
Exactly like the Hellsmith, same sort of concept. You get a cool version of the Battle Tome and the first chance to get hold of a bunch of the miniatures. Let's have a quick chat about some of the stuff in this set.
Sure. So first out the gates would be sort of the mainstay unit for the Ogre tribes. These are the Gluttons, the sort of replacement or refresh of what in old days you might have called Ogre Bulls. And boy, do they look good.
Yeah, the Ogre Bulls are still really cool models,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
they are they've been around for a while now. They're more than 20 years
You
old.
shocked me with
Yeah,
that
I'm
when
sorry
I realised
about
how
that,
old
Adam.
I was. Yeah.
So they are well and truly deserving of a refresh. This is a really cool update for them. They still keep the kind of general aesthetic of the Ogre Bulls, but they're much more dynamic. They're a little bit bigger. The armor plates are much more impressive.
I really like the shape of the helmets. They look like they're designed to deflect sort of downward
yeah,
blows away
and if
from
you
the
remember, like
shoulders as well.
the first time those models came out, they were designed for Warhammer Fantasy, where they'd have to rank up. So actually, the poses were quite sort of
Yeah,
limiting on a
very
lot of the
dynamic
miniatures.
here, aren't they?
These are much like cooler, more impressive poses. Even things like having those arms out, they just look really great. The detail on them is obviously 20 years on from the last time we saw the Ogre Bulls. So these are really, really cool miniatures. You get 10 of these in that launch box. This is only the most basic of the Ogre tribes units.
Fantastic.
Let's move on to, I think, might be one of my favorites.
Yeah, so mine
Iron
too. I
Guts
think
look good.
the Iron Guts have always looked really cool, and these are even cooler if possible. The Iron Guts are an elite ogre unit. They carry enormous weapons, and they wear more armor. So you can see those armor plates on the arms going all the way up to the shoulders. Their helmets are a little bit fancier, and they've got these massive two-handed weapons.
They look like they mean absolute business,
Yeah,
right?
no
Like
kidding.
the size of those weapons, and again, much more dynamic, but those blades are about twice the size of a mortal human, right? So they are going to make an absolute mess. They already are an excellent unit in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They're still an excellent unit, and now the miniatures are even better.
Yeah, absolutely. To keep this rabble in line, you need an Ogre Tyrant. So this model is a multi-part kit. It enables you to build him in a couple of ways. Essentially, a really powerful, heavy-hitting Ogre character. Here you can see a couple of the options. I love this one with the fur cloak. It sort of fits into the more sort of huntery style thing you can do with an Ogre army, where you want to focus more on the beast if you want to, or you can go full Gutbuster with this one. Whichever you prefer, really.
Yeah, if you've got the kind of Beastclaw Raider
Yeah,
vibe.
absolutely.
And I think you can obviously have a mix of them as well, but you've got a lot of different ways to kind of lean into different Ogre armies, and it's just nice to have a multi-part character, right, where you can immediately start to make him your own. One of the big things about Ogres for their entire history is the idea of like big names, right? They carry that through into this battle tome as well, where the leader of your force is literally making a name for himself by achieving various feats. So being able to kind of have the pelts of the things he's defeated on him absolutely makes sense. Those units we've all seen before in different ways. The next unit is effectively a new type. These are the Maul Beast Cavalry and the Maul Beast Raiders. This is a 2-for kit, so you can make 2 different units. They function in a similar way. Both of them are cavalry units. The Maul Beast Raiders are your kind of fast-moving scout unit. The Maul Beast Cavalry are your hard-hitting shock cavalry. They're a little bit more armored. The guy in the back has more weapons, whereas the Maul Beast Raiders have some ranged attacks.
Yeah.
These effectively replace the Mournfang cavalry in your ogre list. They fill a similar sort of role in the army.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about just how tough they are and how hard they hit in a little while. So these are all the models that come inside that new Ogre army set. Obviously, you need the Battle Tome and the War Scroll cards as well. This is the Battle Tome that comes for the Ogre Moor tribes inside that set. It's got this lovely sort of finish to it. You can see the Tyrant on the front. Obviously, there'll be standard editions of the Battle Tome out in due time, and you'll be able to get the models separately. But if you want first in on the new Ogres, this is the way. It wasn't all we saw in that awesome video, though. Do you want to show the box?
Yeah,
It's
I've
pretty
got
cool.
the box right here. So this is the box. It's really lovely. That is all the stuff you get in there. So just to confirm, you get 10 of those gluttons, you get the tyrant, you get 2 of the cavalry, and you get that big unit of Iron Guts, and then you get your battle tome in there as well. So it's a really lovely set.
Fantastic. Right. So, what else is there to talk about? Well, I guess we saw some things which fit in a different sort of part of the Ogre army with the sort of Maw Seekers component, right?
Yeah, so one of the bits of the Ogre force is the kind of Tyrant and the Iron Guts and things like that. But another fairly major part of Ogre society are the Maw Seekers, the Butchers, and the things that follow in the Butcher's wake. The Butcher, again, is a model that's been out for a very long time, well worth an update. This model is a phenomenally cool upgrade.
Also deeply disturbing.
Yeah, I think you've got some strong feelings on exactly how unpleasant
I
this
just find
particular
it
model.
really
The model's
unsettling.
great, but he's definitely a bit grim, isn't
and
he?
the longer you look, the more disturbing it gets. The way he's holding the corpse in his hand, the gore sloshing around in his cauldron, and all this for what is essentially a really beefy ogre wizard.
Yeah, Butchers are sort of part wizard, part chef, part shaman, part mystic to the ogres. They're really important to ogre society. Ogre society basically is all about eating. All ogres at their core have this kind of unending hunger, which they interpret as the will of the god Mor, who may or may not be part of the greater pantheon of Gorka Morka, depending on which ogre you speak to. And Butchers try to tap into that arcane power, that kind of godly power, and manifest it as various different spells. A lot of their magic is to do with consuming something and then manifesting that into magic in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. There are more devotees of the Gulping God coming. This is one of those kits. These are the Ogre Cleavers, and they are kind of like butchers in training, right?
Yeah, these are fanatics of Ogre Society who follow in the wake of the Butchers. They do a range of different things. After a battle, they'll collect up all the various body parts and offal and bits of enemies to throw into the cauldron for the Butcher. They are kind of fanatically driven disciples of the Butchers and of the God Mor.
The combination of the miniatures design team and the heavy metal painting team have really just worked up a horror with these.
Yeah,
They are
I mean,
so
Blood for
good.
the Blood God is
Absolutely
crying out for these
gore,
images,
gore
isn't
up
it?
to the elbows, cauldrons full of offal. These are incredible. They're not the only things within this Maw Seeker collective. That kit also makes another option, so you can either make the cleavers that you saw there, or you can make these, which are the Gutseers.
Yeah, Gutseers are even more horrible and sinister than the Butchers, if you can imagine that. These have tapped into the power of more, and the way that they work in game is that your wizards become more powerful and can effectively cast spells through these guys when they're nearby. The thing that I really like about them from a miniature perspective is those gut plates. If you look at the gut plates on something like the Iron Guts, they have just armored guts, whereas these
they look like teeth, maybe. But
yeah,
these
these
have got-
guts look like intestines or offal or
and they're kind
guts,
of rendered in a
basically.
really like arcane parody. There's
I
something
love
very
it. I think it's
disturbing
really.
going on.
They look like they'd be loads of fun to paint.
Yep. And then, of course, at the centre of all of this is Red the Maw. This is the High Slaughtermaster, sort of like the head of this cult of the Gulping God. Eddie, what can you tell us about Red?
This is a brand new character for the Ogre Moor tribes. This is one of the most powerful characters in your Ogre army. One of the most powerful characters in all of Age of Sigmar. Goes to battle on this enormous kind of cauldron construct that's pulled into battle by a Gorger. Gorgers are the other part of that kind of Moor Seeker grouping. So Moor Seekers covers your Butchers, your Gorgers, and all the kind of various fanatics that follow in their wake. You've got this enormous cauldron, which I assume is where the enemy army goes after the battle. They get thrown in there. And this is both an incredible miniature, but also an incredibly powerful piece for your Age of Sigmar armies. We'll have a little look at some of the rules around it later. And in lore terms, this is the high prophet, the high priest of the Gulping God. So ogres from across the realms flock to Red the Maw to hear what they've got to say.
I love the fact it's being pulled into battle by a Gorger as well. That's just really cool. So all of these models are coming in the not too distant future for the Ogre Moor tribes.
Yep.
Obviously, we need a battle tome to learn all about it, and so there will be the standard edition on the left or the gamers edition on the right to let you get what you need to start playing your games.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a huge and sizable update of things for the Ogre Moor tribes. We've shown you almost all of the new models
But not
for the
all.
ogres. There's a couple more things on the way. The other thing that's worth saying is a couple of the existing units do stick around as well. So particularly some of the big Beastclaw Raider monsters. So if you've got some things like Stonehorns and stuff in your army, you can still absolutely use those, and they work really nicely alongside that Tyrant, which we have one on the table here, done up as a.
It's got that beast claw.
Yeah, got the kind of
vibe going on,
beast
hasn't
claw vibe. There, we turn around so you can see the kind of pelt on his back.
These models are really good.
It's really cool.
Should we have
those
a little
new
bit of a
Iron
look at
Guts
some
are
of the
so
models
awesome.
Yeah, let's do it.
and what you'll
Might
find inside
get
the battle
them.
tome. So these are the faction rules, the battle traits for your ogres. What can you tell us, Eddie?
Yeah, so we're not going to go through the entirety because there's a big old page
Screen
of rules
grab
there.
if
But
you really
yeah,
wanna
if you're an
know.
ogre player or you want to know what you're going to be up against in Age of
Take a
Sigmar, take a
picture
screen
of
grab
that.
now. Fundamentally, they've got two big army special rules. The first of the army rules is if you are in combat with an enemy unit at the end of the turn, or you've defeated an enemy unit in combat, so eaten them basically, you can just have some lunch. You can
Have a
take a chunk out of the enemy unit you're fighting, and you can get a bunch of different rules. So this encourages your ogre army to just get stuck in. If they're in the middle of the enemy army, they can start getting bonuses. There's some really strong stuff in there. You've got stuff like run and charge. You can make the unit harder to kill, make them hit harder. You can mess with enemy wizards, all sorts of stuff.
Fantastic. Go on.
And then you've got the other special rule in there,
Yeah.
which is basically like a special thing where when you charge into an enemy unit, you can basically say, would you like to stay where you are and take the ogre's charge, in which case you take a bunch of mortal wounds, or you can say, well, I'll give you the opportunity to move backwards if you like, in which case your opponent immediately cedes ground to your ogres. So it's really good for shifting units off objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting hit by that wall of iron and muscle is no joke. Obviously, the war scrolls have been looked at as well. So these are the Maul Beast cavalry that we showed you before. They come in the army set, and I talked about how just devastatingly powerful they are. The gut bite weapons do damage 3. The Maul Beasts do damage 2, 3 on the charge. These hit you like a landslide. So many.
I like
attacks.
these new guys. I really like the Iron
I think
Guts.
this is a really powerful unit.
And they're ogres, so they're really
if
points
you're familiar with
intensive.
the way
I
that
like
ogres
an
work
army
today,
just
you'll know how
Iron
Mornfang
Guts.
cavalry work. You'll be familiar with the stats. A lot of the stats are fairly similar to Mornfang's, but across the board, wherever there's a change, it tends to be a bit better. For the Maul Beast cavalry, they are a really tough unit to deal with because they're excellent on the charge, because they're bonuses to charge, but they're also excellent when being charged. So they're a really hard unit to kind of solve for your enemy. I think just a couple of these on the flanks would do great, or even investing on a big double-sized unit and slamming it into the middle of the enemy army could be very powerful.
Yeah, and you can see some of the special rules and things that are going on there, but I love the Ravenous counterattack rule. That means that you can be quite daring with them as a sort of like scouting units in your force. Brilliant. We talked a little bit about Red the Maw. Here is rules. There is a lot to take in.
Yeah, this is one of the kind of big name special characters of the ogres as well. We're not going to go through everything on the sheet. Feel free to take a screenshot and peruse at your leisure. The things to call out are this is an incredibly durable character. 18 wounds, a 4-up save, and a ward save means that you've got to throw a lot of stuff at this guy before he goes down. A level 2 wizard, that's always going to be useful. The thing to really shout out is that command ability, where effectively you can pick an ogre unit nearby, and that unit can benefit from as if it was in combat with an enemy unit. So all of those big list of buffs that you've got in your army special rules, you can just give those out to units nearby for a command point, and you can do some great stuff with that. You've got one of them in there which is run and charge, so right from the off you can be like, I really want one of my units in combat on the first turn, you can just do it. You've also got an ability that gives ward saves to loads of nearby units, so this is just an absolutely really useful linchpin unit for the middle of your army.
Fantastic. So that's a lot of great stuff coming all on the way for the Mortal Realms with the Ogre Moor tribes and this incredible range refresh.
Yeah, we've got some close-ups here.
Should we have a look?
Just a sense of how big they are. I don't know if we've got a human for scale. I seem to have wondered. Maybe they ate him when we weren't looking.
So here you've got Red the Moor in the middle. You can see the size of him. He's really an absolute beefcake. And this enormous cauldron that he's got that's just full of offal. His great big spoon for stirring around the cauldron. Here on the side you can see the Ogre Butcher. He's really quite an impressive model in his own right. And again, this huge cauldron. If I spin him around, you can see just how detailed these models really are.
Yeah, that's a killer model right there.
Loads of things going on the back. Sort of these animal horns and things, so they look like they're carrying trophies and things all around. Just really great. It's an incredible looking kit.
Yeah.
I think the
you get a sense of the size of him because that's a human, right, that he's holding on the butcher.
Yeah,
there,
no kidding. He's got half a person.
Yeah, got half a person there.
It's pretty gross. So anyway, these have disturbed me for long enough. I'm really excited to see them come out. I think they're going to make quite a wave within the Mortal Realms. We are still not done yet. There is still more awesome stuff to talk about in this big summer preview. Next, we're going down to the Underhive.
Necromunda time. Necromunda always gets great models. We got new Vansar, new Goliath, new Asher. Huh. So pretty standard Necromunda starter set kind of deal.
Welcome back and welcome to the Underhive with a new edition of Necromunda Skirmish. This is very exciting. I'm a big fan of Necromunda. I've played it since I was a 16-year-old boy, and it's great to see a new edition come. This is essentially an edition reset for Necromunda, and this core set here that you can see here, this 2-player battle box, is the perfect way to get into it. If you're an existing Necromunda player, we'll talk about some of the other ways too. Here you can see it on the screen. It pitches the sorry, crikey, you can see me going to my favourite gang just automatically. It pitches the Goliaths against the Escher in a classic house matchup. Let's have a look at some of the kits that come with it. We've got a box here which we can use as a prop, but we've got some great images to show on the screen. It contains 2 gangs within the box, the first of which are these. They are the Blades of the Matriarch. This is all new models. We've not released these ones before, and there's some fantastic options in there. At the back, for example, you can see a Huntress with auto pistols and multi-harness. On the right-hand side, you've got one which is a Blade Maiden with a shock whip. You've got the Chem Witch who's got the auto chem. It's like crazy-looking flamer thing that you can see towards the back. Loads of fantastic options to really fill out an Escher
some killer
gang.
models, as
if you've already got an Escher gang, you probably
always
add these to it because it gives you even more options and even more fantastic models. This is also a perfect starting point for an Escher gang in its own right. You could never have played a game of Necromunda, and these would be a wonderful jumping on point. They go head-to-head with the Goliaths. These are the Forge Smelters. Goliaths, the House of Chains, known for their sort of industrial power, and all of these like heavily muscled, stim-enhanced warriors carrying weapons which kind of have an industrial feel. So you've obviously got the heavy stubber at the back, but there's loads of other weapons that might be less familiar. For example, you've got the Crumper Riveter Cannon on the right-hand side. The Lady Goliath is holding that. You've also got things like the Servo Medicae that you can see on the Goliath at the front. You've got one with a Chem Slugger. There's loads of different things going on so that you can either add these to an existing Goliath force or just use these as your first ever Goliaths. I really like the Ignition Cannon that's on the left-hand side. 2 fantastic gangs. You also find inside the box absolutely everything you need to get started playing. So you have the gaming mat, the measurers, the dice, the templates, all the cards and bits and pieces. You have a full rule book.
Yeah.
You also have
I mean,
some
it looks like a good starter
terrain
set for Necromunda,
to position
and
your game
Necromunda's a great
to
game
start
system, so
playing your games.
more people that play it, better.
Essentially, this is a wonderful way to kick off Necromunda if you've just never played before and kickstart you into the new edition. So here you can see like a close-up on some of those other things as well. There's really a lot to enjoy here in these gangs, and if you look at the back of the box, you can see it all sort of laid out, sort of panning around, just full to the brim of great Necromunda stuff. There's more to come in this new edition than just this. It's worth saying that Necromunda, the thing that makes it so exciting is this continuous war between the great gang houses. So there are 6 gang houses that you might be familiar with if you know Necromunda well. Essentially, you have the Orks, the Vansars, Cawdor, Dilac, Escher and Goliath, and you can see them all displayed here. These are Underhive crew boxes. These contain models that you might already know if you are familiar with Necromunda, presented in a brilliant format that lets you essentially make one purchase to start an entire Underhive crew of your own. I'm a big fan of Necromunda. I've played it for years and years. I've got a really big Orlok gang, and I looked at the Underhive crew and was like, oh, that's like essentially everything you need for a really fantastic Orlok crew. Things to talk about quickly while we're here. So obviously this box contains everything. If you just wanted the Necromunda rulebook, say you've got loads of Necromunda stuff and you don't want to buy a new the core box for some mad reason, then you can just buy the Necromunda rulebook. This is a large hardback book. It's just packed with lore and rules and all the good things that you would want to know about Necromunda. And it's been revised. They've made the updates to the rules to sort of streamline things. Every role feels like it really matters. Games are very exciting. I'm really excited to sink my teeth into it. If you've got an existing gang and you want to know where you find the rules for that, there's 2 more publications coming along for you. These are Gangs of the Underhive, which deal with those 6 gang houses we talked about before, along with various hangers-on and hired guns. And you've got Gangs of the Outland, which deals with those gangs and sort of Necromunda denizens that operate outside of the normal sphere, things like the Ironhead Prospectors or the Ashwaste Nomads. And you'll find their rules along with the various hangers-on in those books. So essentially, pick up the core rule book, pick up the Gangs of the book that you need, and you are good to go with Necromunda Skirmish. Still more. Really useful to have on the side of the table. You've got the core gang tactics cards. I find having like physical things really useful when I'm playing Necromunda. It's a very tactile game. And you've also got the scenario cards, which help organise your campaign and get your games flowing really nicely. Also, if you want to like enhance your battlefield, get your game going, there's an enormous range of fantastic Necromunda scenery and terrain. The Zone Mortalis range is big and beautiful, and there's an addition to it now with these Factoria pipes. You'll find some Factoria pipes inside that core set, and there's even more if you buy this Factoria pipes box. And breathe.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favourite things about Necromunda is when you start to see people like really lean into the scenery and they've got their Zone Mortalis bit and then they start building up and you get the pipes and walkways and you can have like fights across the gantries and you can shoot people down from higher up and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. My favourite games in Necromunda are always the ones which play on multiple levels and you can blast someone off a 12-inch high precipice and watch them plummet.
I do like a bit of ash waste every now and again though.
Yeah, yes, I agree, but there's something
There is something cool about like having a little cross section of a city.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time and it just blew my mind. If you've never played Necromunda before, this really is a perfect jumping on point. Necromunda is a really exciting game. Ask any Necromunda fan and they will like enthuse about it, how great it is. And if you are an existing Necromunda fan and you're looking for new challenges, that's just really great because the rules have been tweaked and streamlined and there's going to be new secrets to unlock. It's going to be a good time to be fighting battles in the Underhive. The narrative that's been unfolding for the past few years, the Aranthian succession.
I'm glad to see more Necromunda.
I'm really excited to see where the team responsible.
You know I love my narrative games.
Take it in this new era. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
And we are still
not
done.
Done.
Yep.
Cool.
We are sticking around in the 41st millennium, but we're going to go
Kill
to Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team with this.
Nice, lock in. Catachains versus Exodites.
After years of searching, we're closing in on something unseen for decades.
Ooh, Dragon Knights. An upgrade for Squid Hogs.
we are alive and well in this year of 2026, and who would have had Exodites on their 2026 Warhammer bingo card?
This is a super exciting box set.
Really, right?
This is awesome. So obviously, every time we have a new Kill Team box set, it's very exciting. This one, I think, it will be particularly interesting, not just for fans of Kill Team, but for fans of Warhammer 40,000. Exodites are one of those last untapped, awesome bits of Warhammer 40,000 lore. Whenever we get to kind of unveil a cool new corner of the Millennium, it's always very exciting. I think Exodites absolutely fall into that little corner.
If you don't know what Exodite is, very briefly, when the Eldari Society was starting to sort of, way back before the fall, starting to fall into decadence and depravity, the Exodites were like, no, thank you very much, and they left main society and they settled on places far-flung from the mainstay of Eldar Society called Maiden Worlds.
Beautiful jungle planets full of rich flora and fauna and full of all sorts of weird, wonderful creatures.
Absolutely.
And then when Eldar Society was destroyed in the fall, the Exodites were one of the few remaining bits that were left. Now, in the 41st millennium, they have these pockets of idyllic beautifulness across Warhammer 40,000. Obviously, this being Warhammer 40,000, if you've got something lovely, everyone wants to knock it over and invade
there's
it.
probably a war coming.
There's always a war coming.
Nice.
So whenever their planets are invaded, they have to defend them with whatever tools they can find available, and the closest thing available is giant reptilian beasts that they can ride into battle.
Should we have a look at the
their
models?
foes with.
So, here we go. These are the Exodite Dragon Masters. Eddie, this is a very unusual kill team, right?
Yeah, so this is a kill team, first and foremost. It is really kind of weird, really fun, unusual kill team. It is effectively 3 models and 2 little hangers-on, so it's immediately very, very elite. In terms of how it plays in kill team, it plays in a really interesting and unique and unusual way. All of your units have APL 4, which is wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
In kill team, so you can do all sorts of cool maneuvers. They are very, very fast, as you would imagine, faster than almost anything else in kill team. They can leap up across bits of terrain, so if you think that your sniper at the back of the battlefield is nice and safe, perched on his ruin, think again, because a giant reptilian with an Eldari warrior on the back is racing towards you, ready to chop your head off. You have 3 very different kinds of characters in there. Effectively, you've got a warrior archetype, a mage archetype, and a sniper archetype, and they all do very different things for your kill team.
Yeah, so here on the screen you can see the 3 different ones laid out. Essentially, you have the Clan Blade, which is the close combat one, you have the Ley Stalker, which is the one with the sniper rifle, and then you have the Stone Singer, which is the Exodite who focuses on using psychic powers. And then they also have these little beasts that run around with them, and those are called Dracolites.
Yeah, and they look familiar to, if you know kind of how Eldar Craft World work, there's a little bit of the Autarch to this one, there's a little bit of the Farseer to this one, there's a little bit of the kind of Ranger. So they have a kind of common ancestry with the Eldar of the Craft Worlds, but they have gone off in a slightly different sort of cultural direction, and the biggest difference really is that they ride on the back of these cool reptiles.
Yeah.
But a really fun kill team, a very different kill team, and I think probably going to be a very popular kill team as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the only thing you get in this box. You've also got a bunch of Orks in here. The way that the Orks work in this kill team is a little bit like the Red Terror set that we had recently, where they are effectively non-player operatives, and you can play a bunch of different games against these, either as a 1-player or a 2-player series. There is a campaign in the box which tells the story of an Ork war which has landed on this planet. The Orks, who are beast snaggers, basically find a world full of monsters, and they're like, "This is a paradise. Look at all these giant beasts we can hunt." The Eldar are obviously much less keen on that than the Orks, and they have to try and drive off the Orks so you can play through this campaign. Also, of course, all the stuff in this box you can also use in Warhammer 40,000 as well.
Yeah, just to give a shout out to that Kill Team Exodite book, it's really cool. I got to have a look through it the other day. It's got great lore in it. There's stories from the perspective of the Eldari Exodites. There's also like that campaign has some great missions in it. There's guides on how to set up make your battlefield to look like a Maiden World. It's a wonderful book. They've done an amazing job sort of bringing this to life.
Yeah. Worth saying, one of the other ways that you can build up the kill team that you get in this set is as another unit, which is called the Dragon Knights. These are the archetypal, I suppose, the closest thing we've got to the classic version of an Exodite. Yeah, very reminiscent of some of the very cool Warhammer 40,000 art from some of the early editions. This is effectively a fast cavalry unit of Exodites riding on those huge reptilian beasts. And they work a little bit in game, I suppose, like your Shining Spears, where they could charge in. They actually have laser lance lances, which is the same weapon that Shining Spears have. So they punch pretty hard, but as well as the rider on the back fighting,
You've
who's a
also
good fighter.
got a crazed reptile beast helping you fight, right?
Absolutely. So they hit really, really hard. They're not super durable, but they're a little bit more durable than some of the other kind of combat units you might find in an Eldari army. So they're going to be quite a useful little unit. I think you will see them dotted around various Warhammer 40,000 battlefields and Eldar armies quite soon. The other forces in this box, the Dragon Masters, you can also use in Warhammer 40,000, and the way that they work is that each one is effectively an individual character in your Eldari army. So you've got the kind of lone op sniper, you've got your fast moving hero, you've got a kind of buff support piece. So effectively, this one kill team provides you with 4 different data sheets for Warhammer 40,000 Eldari armies. So it's a really flexible little clump of stuff that you can add into your Eldari force.
Yeah, so Kill Team Exodite contains 3 Exodites and the 2 Dracolids. Obviously, these models will be available separately down the line, so if you wanted to put loads into your army, that's completely legit. There are loads of reasons that an Eldari force might have Exodites in it as well. When you look at the history of the Eldari, the Craftworld Biel-Tan is so affronted at the state of the Maiden Worlds that they aggressively defend Maiden Worlds from any interference. Obviously, Alitok is known for the Rangers who travel around the webway and they visit all the Maiden Worlds on a regular basis.
It's one of the main reasons the Eldari come into conflict with other races, right? They don't seek it out particularly, but one of the things that they have is this sort of cultural association with these planets, and whenever anyone invades, it's almost like it's sacrilegious, right?
This is protecting the last true
absolutely,
ancient Eldari, really.
This is almost always why the Eldari will get involved in a fight somewhere, is that the craft worlds can fly off, but planets can't really. So when the Imperium shows up and decides to build a Forge world on your wonderful Paradise world, you have to kind of go and kick them off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth having a little look at the models, I think. So here we have a stunt beast snagger sort of drafted in to pose, and then you can get a sense of the scale of these things when you bring the Exodite up alongside. They're lithe, the beasts look really muscular, but they're still an impressive size model, and I think they're going to be quite popular with people who want to do just beautiful paint jobs, right? They're going to lend themselves really towards that.
Yeah, I mean, the models are beautiful. Like, I think I really like the leader
That's
unit.
in particular, that
yeah,
one,
the leader of the Dragon Knights is just a really, really excellent miniature. I think just the kind of straight-on pose for him, I'd be amazed if we don't see a few of those at Golden Demons and things. He's got that beautiful back banner, obviously, which is lending itself to kind of whatever showing off painting scheme you'd like to have a go at. The reptiles are riding themselves.
Probably
you can
get a
paint
full
almost
range
any
later.
color you can imagine, right? The heavy metal team here has gone for some really cool, vivid color schemes. You could have anything in your paint collection. You could paint these guys. I think they're going to be a joy to paint, and I can't wait to see them on the battlefield.
Absolutely. I said before, like, who had Exodites on their 2026 Warhammer thing?
I think at least 3 people guessed when we posted it.
You get to
well done, you, if you
stamp.
guessed
Well
Exodites.
played. I'm delighted. They've existed in the lore for such a long time, and it's really exciting to see them like on the tabletop in this way before. This is the first time we've ever seen Exodites in plastic, and kind of the first time really we've seen them properly.
I think there was like one little shred of cloth
a little,
on one of the Corsairs.
maybe
a bit of
an
scaling.
old little metal one for Epic.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Back
Yeah.
in the day, and other than that, they've existed in the stories and in some scattered pieces of artwork. So, what a happy time! We're very excited, and also the love and passion that spilled out of the Warhammer studio as they told us about them was just infectious. So, hopefully, you're as excited about these as we are, because they're very exciting. What else is there to say? We have come to the end of our.
That was a lot of stuff, Adam.
It was a lot of stuff, and we said it would be about 90 minutes, and we're very, very nearly there. So thank you if you are still with us and enjoying the Warhammer preview. It's been lovely to have you with us. I should round up. There have been a couple of questions floating around. One of them I can field right now. Somebody asked in the chat, what's the cost to the Warhammer Academy? The cost is nothing. It is free. You'll need to log in and sign up, but it is designed to help you just get started with your Warhammer journey. So it doesn't cost anything. Just join in and start learning about Warhammer and sort of honing your skills and gaining confidence as you do so. If you've got more questions, well, we've got good news. A few weeks back, Eddie and I did a Q&A, and we had a nice time doing it. So we're going to do another one in a couple of weeks. So here is an email address appearing mystically on your screen. Quanda, that is Q&A at preview.warhammer.com. That is where you can start sending your questions. Hopefully, Warhammer-related questions, and specifically about things we've talked about in the preview.
I mean, you can send in any question, but we'll only answer the Warhammer-related ones.
I have very few specialist subjects, and most of them revolve around Warhammer. So, yeah, please do send us Warhammer questions to that Q&A in a couple of weeks' time. We'll let you know closer to when it's going to be. We'll go through those questions, we'll pick the best ones, and we'll sit down and have a little session where we read through all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I guess all that remains then is thank you everybody for coming and joining in this preview and spending some time with us. Thank you to all the people behind the scenes who pressed the buttons and moved the models around and made it all work. You are champions. Thank you, Eddie, for knowing all the answers and making it look
That's
good.
all right. I had a great time.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
In that case, until
That was
next
a good
time,
time.
we will see you again very soon. Good night.
Let's go to Warhammer Community really quick. I want to see if we can see. I didn't really catch what that new Ork model was in the introductory set. I imagine it's just like a big boss, maybe an alternate pose big boss. Here we go. You start with Space Marines, you get 11 paints. 11 paints. Yeah, that's that. What is that? Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's just a big boss, right? Yes, you get your rocket launcher, your big shooter, then you got this boy here. I guess this is just at the squad knob. These guys get a lieutenant, these guys just get their squad knob. Man, these minis look good. And then yeah, we've got all this. All that jazz. Yeah, we don't care about that. I'm gonna be real. I want to look at the truck. Man, this thing is killer. And it's not any bigger than the old truck, really. So you can just use both. We got the War Boss. We've already seen him. Unless they've revealed new parts? No. This is Bionic Eye and Horned Element. We've already spotted. You can also emulate heroes from the version with a big Abaddon-style hair squig, or an Orky version of a Commissar's cap. One of the lower does even a cigar for a proper Codex thinking he's a Lord Castellan. Who baby? Mech guns, standalone Armageddon units. Command pack. They didn't show this off. We've got tokens, detachment cards. Yeah, this is a killer reveal, honestly. I mean, the new Custodies are great. Yeah, look at that new Telemon. And it's branded 40K. Gear Falcons. Palace Grav Attack. And these guys. These guys kind of stole the show, honestly. They're great. They are great. Yeah, good reveal show. Alright, talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.